It is a uniquely painful experience to stand still while the rest of the world rushes by in a single direction. You love your family, but you also love the person you chose. And carrying both of those realities at once, standing between strict societal expectations and your own personal truth, can slowly break a person from the inside. People rarely follow these inherited rules because they fully believe in them. They follow them because the fear of being excluded hurts. Society understands that human beings seek belonging, and it uses the fear of abandonment to ensure compliance. But you can systematically dismantle these pressures. We are going to build a personal authenticity action plan, a 5-step method designed to help you analyze social acceptance and decide which parts of it you actually need. Step 1. Grab a piece of paper and a pen. I want you to mentally select one specific family or social expectation you are currently struggling with. Moving past the pain of conformity does not require a loud explosion. It requires a logical framework. By addressing this system methodically, we can turn emotional overwhelm into a series of clear, manageable decisions. On your paper, write down the exact rule you feel pressured to follow, along with the specific consequence of breaking it. Get the expectation out of your head and onto the page. Using this notebook layout as a guide, split your page into 2 columns. Label the left side Inherited Fear and the right side My Truth. Many of the people who oppose intercaste or love marriages are projecting deep anxieties passed down through generations. They were taught that identity must stay within rigid boundaries. Over time, those unexamined anxieties are renamed and enforced as sacred traditions. As you audit this rule, you will likely feel a spike of guilt. That is a predictable symptom of questioning authority. Recognizing this expectation as an inherited anxiety rather than an unchangeable law begins the process of detaching from its emotional weight. You are no longer fighting a moral absolute. You are observing someone else's unexamined fear. Now we move to step 2. The culture versus control test. We are going to evaluate the rule you placed in the left column against 2 distinct categories. Our T-chart baseline. Left side, healthy culture preserves beauty and evolves. Right side, when a system prioritizes social image over human happiness, it becomes control. Run your expectation through this filter. If it sacrifices your happiness for an inherited label, cross it off. Rejecting a controlling system does not mean you are abandoning your heritage. It means you refuse to let a system value its own public relations over your reality. The primary reason you hesitate to cross that rule out is the fear of losing your community's acceptance. But you have to look closely at what you are actually losing. Society often only accepts the curated version of you that fits within its comfort zone. Step outside those boundaries and that acceptance disappears. It was never unconditional. It was approval. Write the label Conditional Approval next to your crossed-out rule. You cannot lose unconditional support if it was never unconditional to begin with. Understanding this eliminates the fear of losing something you never possessed. Once you see that this approval was always a transaction, you can stop fearing its loss. Seeing the transaction for what it is replaces the fear of being cast out with the clarity of being let go. For step 4, we design the pivot. Look at the My Truth column on your paper and write down a new replacement rule, one rooted in connection rather than fear. Look at this substitution. You replace what will people think with, does this honor our humanity? You value compatibility over caste and respect over status. This pivot isn't about starting a fight. It is about a steady, quiet resolution. Real courage is choosing honesty when pretending would be easier. By making this substitution, you act as a circuit breaker. You stop the transmission of inherited fear, ensuring it doesn't reach the next generation. Real change doesn't start with overturning society. It starts with one person systematically replacing inherited prejudice with conscious compassion. At the bottom of your plan, write one final declaration. I no longer need permission to exist. This is the objective of the plan, inner alignment. Peace comes from knowing that your life belongs to you, not to public opinion or strangers who will never live your reality. To maintain this, you must stop explaining your existence. You stop trying to convince people who are actively committed to misunderstanding you. Facing societal rejection is difficult, but a far greater tragedy is abandoning your own identity to avoid it. Look at your completed plan. You have taken an overwhelming social pressure and dismantled it into a self-authored truth. Years from now, the opinions and trends of today will have changed. Even the most rigid traditions will eventually evolve or fade. The ultimate metric for your life will be whether your decisions came from love or from fear, whether you chose to live for appearances or for what you knew to be true. Keep this paper, practice this quiet courage, and if you know someone else struggling with these boundaries, share this framework with them so they can find the permission to choose themselves. Because in the end, a successful life is not measured by perfectly fitting into society's expectations. It is measured by the degree to which you can look back at your decisions and